this is David Stark from WatcherPass.com, your website for movie reviews, interviews, and recommendations. Today I'm joined by Taylour Takahashi, who plays the title role in Boogie. We're going to talk to Taylour in just a second, but first let's check out the trailer, and while you're watching, if you can like and subscribe to this channel, that would be fantastic. It helps me out a lot. Thank you.
What's up, man?
What's going on, Taylour?
How you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Hanging in there, having fun.
My Trojans are through this next round in March Madness, so everything is great. They're playing tonight.
Nice. Who they play tonight?
They play Kansas, so it's going to be a tough game.
Oof. Big test. That's nice though. USC, man. It's been a while since they have had a good basketball team, man. It was like OJ Mayo.
Yeah, that's the jersey I'm wearing. That was the last
DeMar
one I got.
DeRozan. Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Awesome, man. That's awesome.
Awesome. Well, so yeah, good thing we're talking about basketball. It's kind of the perfect time for it because we're going to talk to you about Boogie. The film is out in theaters and digitally. It's a solid basketball movie. It's also a solid kind of like cultural movie. So I guess my first cultural question is, your last name is Takahashi. You play a Chinese basketball player, and you speak, as far as I can tell, fluent Chinese. I'm not a native speaker at all, so it sounded good to me. So I guess how did you? Are you Chinese, Japanese, somewhere in between? I guess where's your background growing up?
Yeah, I'm a Japanese American. I'm fourth generation. I grew up in the Bay Area, so I would say I grew up in Alameda, so probably predominantly Asian, if anything. I was fairly white as well too, but a lot of Asian people growing up around me. I had friends, Chinese, Vietnamese, Korean, you name it. I'd seen kind of it all. So I've been around all different types of races and cultures, and I'm very thankful for the Bay Area kind of being a melting pot of that. And so yeah, I mean, I do play a Taiwanese character, and I learned a lot of the Taiwanese culture through Eddie and through food and cooking with him, and his parents. And so I don't present myself as being a fake Taiwanese person or anything like that, but I'm here to learn about the culture. I know that Taiwan and Japan have a pretty rough history, and I understand it. I'm not fully into it, but I understand the basis of what happened, and I don't agree with what happened at all, and I don't represent that. And so I hope people can see that from me, and that kind of the olive branch that was extended from Eddie on behalf of, we'll call it Taiwan, to me, it's fully accepted. And I'm here to shake people's hands and greet them, but I understand why people feel a certain way, for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely. I didn't mean to press on any of those issues. It's I think I know there's a lot of nuance in Asian culture and history, but I think a lot of a lot of Asians are just happy to have more representation on the screen, and that happens in Hollywood all the time. You've got actors from different backgrounds playing people from different backgrounds. It's just the same as anything else. I was curious. Personally, I'm half Japanese, so I was curious if you have Japanese in your background.
Nice. Yeah, I do. I'm full Japanese. I'm rare. I'm a rare breed.
You are more built than most full Japanese people I know. So it's a testament to your work ethic or your great genes. I'm not sure which one it is.
I'll say great genes and a little bit of work ethic there.
It gotta be a little bit of both. So the other thing I noticed is you handle yourself on the court perfectly. Like you definitely can ball. So I guess, where did you pick that up? Have you been balling since you were a kid? And then also, did you kind of do like a crash course before this movie started?
Yeah, I've played basketball since I was 2. I have older brothers, 5 years older than me. Always got to play against older competition. So I think that's what really fueled me in the sport, was just I play, if I'm 5, I'm playing against 10-year-olds. If I'm 10 years old, I'm playing against 15-year-olds with my brother. And so it was my first introduction into just kind of competition. And I played other sports. I played baseball, I played soccer, but basketball was always kind of the sport that everyone was like, you're not going to be that good, and you're too short, you're too small. I had that whole whole talk, right? I mean, you're too small, you're too short, you're not big enough, you're not strong enough. Like it was everything. And I was like, okay, well, that kind of makes me want to play the sport even more. And so high school was I had an experience in high school where there was like my first 2 years, I made varsity as a freshman. About halfway through the year, they bumped me up from JV. My team was terrible, to say the least. Like we were terrible. We were not known to be a basketball school. And so by my junior and senior year, we had kind of flipped the program. They kind of ushered in. I think my sophomore year, they started two sophomores and 3 juniors, and it was really just trying to prep for the future in that next year. We had some success my junior year. We made NCS playoffs for the first time in Northern California, which was our school hadn't been there in 15 years. And then the following year, my senior year, we did the same thing, but we qualified for state. It was the first time our team's ever been to any type of state tournament. We lost, but I had some great memories through basketball, and it's been kind of that place where I've built relationships. I've made bonds with all of my best friends on the court, and it's just been where I've fostered a lot of stuff. And so basketball has been this great beacon, and I never thought, you know, it would lead me to the opportunity of a movie. But here we are, and those skills kind of played out. I always wanted to get a scholarship and go play overseas or go play in the NBA. Like that was always like the big dream, and I guess where your success would lie for a long time. But I figured out as I got older that this game's not going to give me, you know, a scholarship. It's not going to give me money, a job, but it's going to give me opportunity to meet people, and you know, it led me to the movie. And I've been constantly playing basketball. It's always something that, you know, as a form of exercise for me, it's just consistent. So I'm never too foreign with the ball. Like I've always figured something out, and especially being in New York for a portion of the pre-production, it's not hard to find a basketball court there. So I'm always consistently playing. So no crash course for me. I'm always pretty well versed in the game, and I just love competing. I love playing. I love playing in different areas of the world just because you see how different people play the same game. And it's kind of a universal language. We can all play with each other around the world with just a ball and a bucket. So it's pretty cool.
And so, you know, in Shaq's words, you kind of just basically said, "I know I got skills," because you clearly have it come growing up. One thing I was
got
curious
some
is,
skills for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, you got it. I appreciate that. You know, one thing I really also liked about your characters, you've got this kind of, you know, I guess I wouldn't like non-typical Asian mentality on the court. Your character's cocky. He's kind of a showboat. You know, and you seem personally kind of, you know, soft-spoken, you know, confident, but not like overly, you know, showy. So was that Boogie character kind of something that comes out on the court when you play? Do you become more of a, you know, like a showboat on the court, or is it just something that you kind of made because the character is that way, and that's you know, what you had to do as an actor?
I think for Boogie, that is his arena, to have kind of a little bit of no fear, and a little bit of just that's his confident spot is on the court. And so he feels like that's his, you know, that's his spot to be kind of that cocky out of body personality. For me as a person, you know, I was taught to be very humble. I had a lot of success early in athletics, and you know, my parents always, you know, told me like, we're proud, you did a very good. They would never downplay it, but they would never hold me up on this pedestal like I was the greatest thing ever. And so it taught me early at a young early age to just, you know, always remain humble. You're going to have success if you do things that you're supposed to do, but never let it get to your head. And I've always kept that same mentality. And so it was a little different for me. Like I don't talk a lot of shit when I'm on the court. When I play personally, it takes me out of my own game. And my answers to anyone that's talking shit has always just been like, I'm just going to let my game speak for itself. And if you know the game, if you really do like the game, and you really are good at the game, respect that we're playing. So always my answer to any kind of, like, you know, dealt with the whole gambit of stuff on the court from anyone just trying to get an edge. And so I understand it. I know there's an end to it once the game's over. And there's not a, you know, never has it kind of leaked over into regular life with me. But you know, very much different than Boogie. So to tap into that was a little different. And you know, to have that kind of snarky, like, you know, look on his face all the time, and just kind of like man, like, I'm too good for this. Like it plays into his character really, really well. But is the furthest thing away from me as a person.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm the same way. As soon as I start talking, shit on the court, I make a major blunder, and I'm like, oh well, that's probably my own fault. Um, Another one of the themes, that's kind of inherent in this is this kind of this bias against Asians in certain areas. Boogie's kind of his goal is the NBA, and he's there's some poignant scenes where essentially he's told we're not going to take a flyer on you because of your race, essentially.
Mhm.
And I know that Asians have experienced an uptick in racial issues in the last couple of years, but it's also just something that's been kind of an underlying issue in the Asian American culture. Is this something that kind of you were able to draw on from your own experiences, or did you kind of have a because you grew up in a more kind of diverse Bay Area, you never really kind of experienced any sort of like inherent bias when you were growing up?
I didn't experience anything close to I think what people really have to go through. I think I'd be fake if I said that I experienced something. Like I said, growing up on the court, playing against all different people, like I've heard the whole racial slur bag that I could possibly hear, but I never let it like deter me away from what I'm trying to do on the court. And like I said, there's a I've been in that arena and I've felt the, hey, such and such, hey, racial slur, whatever. I've heard them, I've felt them. And, at the time I couldn't really do anything about it. I would love to have more of a voice when I was a teenager and speak up and say stuff. But it never really got to me since I knew it was like, once this clock ends and this game's over, I'm just a student again. And so, it doesn't leak over into hey, after the game we're actually hitting you with some stuff in your face and really talking that shit. I never dealt with that. And so I've heard it on the court in the spirit of competition, and I've always, maybe that's not the right thing, is to look the other way. I hear them, but I just compete harder. It makes me go harder. And
Yeah.
so I'd be lying to you if I sat here and I told you like, yeah, I've dealt with that on a certain level, because I haven't.
Well, and also, yeah, just let your play speak for itself, right? You can essentially just
That's
scoreboard.
really what.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Easy answer.
So now I'd like to move. I call it the lightning round normally, but for this one, I'll call it the full court press. It's just lightweight questions, kind of about your character, Boogie, and see how your experience is mapped to Boogie. Some of them we've already answered, and they're supposed to be fun and lightweight. So you don't, if you don't want to answer one, then perfectly fine with it. You can feel free to pass.
Cool.
First
Cool.
question is, have you ever called somebody's body part pretty?
Ooh. Yes.
Okay. Can you dunk?
On a 9-foot hoop, I can. I'm an amazing dunk on a 9-foot hoop. Let me tell you.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's fine. Just you can't tell in the YouTube video how high the hoop is. So,
Exactly.
what's your go-to basketball move?
My go-to basketball move is probably a reverse between the legs from right hand into left, and then a step back off the right, mid-range jump shot. That would probably be my go-to.
Very nice. Do you have a rival on the court?
My brother was my rival for a long time on the court, just being older. And he was a nice brother and letting me win a couple of times. But when it was like really playing for something, never let me win until I got older where I could actually compete. So I had that. I had a couple of high school rivals as well, too, that were in my league. I don't know if we call it rivalries, but it was just like, he's a good player. He's a good player. Watch out for them. So, yeah.
Have you ever had to make a choice between practicality and your dreams?
Yes, absolutely.
I think everyone
Absolutely.
kind of does. That's kind of it's a layup question.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you had to
Yeah.
go work abroad, where would you go?
Oof. I want to say Japan, but I've been. I would say anywhere in Europe. I have not been to Europe as a vacationer, so I would love to experience some work and experience the culture. So I would love anything in Europe.
Awesome. And the last question is, have you ever had to settle any beef on the court? Or like, have you ever used
Oh
a game
yeah.
to settle beef?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. again, that's like my most confident spot. So it's like if anything needs to be settled there, like even in between like my friend circle, we talk a lot of shit to each other, and it's always like, let's go play basketball then, and it's just like a mute point at that point. But 100% have used the basketball court as a place to settle beef. Yep.
Awesome. Thanks so much for your time. What's next for you? What do you have lined up in terms of acting or your
There are a
career?
couple of there's a couple of things acting wise that I'm going to audition for, and it's really just about waiting for the next right opportunity, and seeing what presents itself, and really just remaining open, as I don't want to like dually make another Boogie experience for me and it being surprising, but like I want to just, it was that openness that allowed me to kind of just have this experience. And so I'm kind of in the same boat here where like I just want to remain open and allow everything to come through, and then through my management and my team just kind of filter and see what really is worth doing. But it's really just trying to remain open and see what happens, as well as kind of being smart and making correct moves for myself.
Awesome. That's great to hear, and I hope you keep it up. It was, it's always fun to see Asians in Hollywood and Asians in starring roles, and it seems like we've had a couple really fantastic ones in the last few years. So, this was, the same thing. It was great to see kind of an Asian star in a non-traditional Asian role. So.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I hope it comes more of a normal to see, and we won't, raise our eyebrows or be like shocked when we see it. And for anybody really, it's just the Asians for sure, but just all people of color, just to start having more representation in Hollywood and X out the kind of that old school mentality. And hopefully we have some pretty good momentum, and hopefully keep it going.
Yep. So, thanks so much for your time.
All right, man, David, take it easy.
Take care. Well, I would say that interview was a slam dunk. Thanks so much for watching. That was Taylour Takahashi, who plays Boogie in Boogie. Boogie is available in theaters and digitally, so you can check it out if the theaters are open and you're comfortable in your area, or you can rent it and watch it in the comfort of your own home. If you like this interview, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot to make sure all my new interviews go straight to you. And as always, please go to watchyourpast.com for all your movie reviews, interviews, and recommendations. Thank you.